Okay, I've turned both controllers on, and both of them are in the start of their program. Both programs are loaded in auto, so they will be picked up from the power on reset. That is indeed how yours is loaded, and I loaded the masters the same. You'll see that I put the enable on your gripper one, and it will follow the encoder of this motor over here. This motor is outputting encoder counts just like your emulator does into P4, and you can see that it does indeed follow it. That tells me that the controller is operating okay. I've also set this up to run at a speed when I hit the input 1. As you'll see, both of them are following each other. I can enable and disable like your gripper does, and we can turn your gripper motor on and off, and you'll see that that follows it. I can turn the master press on and off, and you can see that that follows it also. All that would lead me to the conclusion that your controller is okay, your gripper motor is okay, and the program within it is not. I'm going to have to blame, and I think rightfully so, and I'll demonstrate it right now, that the encoder pulses coming from the emulator are degraded somehow. What I have here, instead of my test cable, which is fully shielded, this is a standard video cable, 15-pin sub-Ds, and if you test pin to pin, you do see that you do have the conductivity, but the shielding is all wrong. With a quadrature encoder, it's very important that we have the shielding correct. I'm going to run my motor again, and and you can see the motor's running. I'm going to output the pulses with my degraded shielding type cable, which I'll get a degraded signal over from P4 to P4. Now you would expect that just to follow it again. You'll see over, on the screen that we did get encoder 2 fault when I had the cable off, which is correct. We have to do a power on reset or a hard reset on the software, and you'll see that that indeed power up. We are not getting an encoder fault. Our press motor is running, and our gripper will follow. But because we have a degraded encoder input on P4, we will eventually, and I've had it go from 10 seconds to 2 hours, we'll eventually get an encoder 2. I have picked the speed of the press for a reason. It's a marginal speed. What we'll find out is when we slow that down, we do indeed get an encoder 2 fault. That had nothing to do with the speed. It was just that the signal pulse coming in degraded. As you saw with the prior demonstration, with a fully shielded cable and a strong signal, that I could run that at finger speed and it would follow and it would never fault out. Now another question that you may have come up with when you went through the software, you'll see, oh, I was getting encoder pulses in, why am I having a fault? If we do look at the diagnostics here on the encoder, even with an encoder fault, we will see on encoder 2 that pulses are coming in from the press. And that is correct, that they are coming in from the press. What we have is that is a hardware up-down chip, and that does count quadrature encoder pulses, but we have another circuit. It's not a software circuit that verifies encoder faults, and we've fallen below that level. I have restored the encoder wire back to the shielded one so you can see it. As I slow this one down, you'll notice that that one does not fault out. As a matter of fact, I can stop it and start it as I did before, and we will not fault out. That will continue to run for as long as we need. I'm going to conclude with the fact that I believe the problem with your press is the cable that's inputting to P4 and or the emulator. I would encourage you to check the cable thoroughly. Make sure that you're using shielded twisted pairs. Very important to be shielded, very important to be twisted. I'm going to forward to Craig or one of you guys a document from another guy in an engineering forum that I'm a member of. A very good explanation of why we need the shielding, why we need the twisting to avoid EMI and capacitive coupling. This is a very low signal. It's 5 volts. It's very fast. Quadrature's coming in 4 times. The other thing that it could be is in your emulator, of course, the receiver drivers for those output pulses. I would check all groundings. Separate the encoder cables from any power cables, especially the motor cables or any high DC surge type currents, and clean off any contacts and make sure that all covers are closed. If the quadrature encoder wiring can get separated somehow from the rest of the wiring, it would probably help you out. I believe that the system you have now is probably still degrading to the point where the controller that's running it now, which will probably have a little different threshold level for the encoder fault. I believe that that's why the system is running now. Will eventually degrade there. If it's tomorrow or 10 years, we can't tell. If you do improve your shielding, improve your quadrature in, I believe that the original unit you had will operate correctly, and I believe that the other units that are on the shelf, the ones I'm about to send you back, will operate correctly, and that's my conclusion. Thanks, guys. Have a good day now.